How's it going, people? Jeff here from Ecom Geeks. Today we're going to be talking about which themes to use and which themes not to use. Now, we're going to be talking specifically about free Shopify themes. Now, there are 9 different Shopify themes that are provided by Shopify. Any other themes are paid for and they are by third-party providers, which means that Shopify does not support them if something goes wrong. So let's get into it. So here we go. I'm on the free Shopify themes part of the Shopify theme store, and we've got our 9 different types here. There's Express, Narrative, Debut, Venture, Boundless, Simple, Brooklyn, Supply, and Minimal. So what's good and what's not? Well, first off, don't use Narrative, don't use Boundless. They suck, they're obnoxious to deal with, just don't do it. Just avoid them. Venture, I would also tend to avoid. It's not the worst thing, but it's very difficult to manage. So now that we've covered which ones to avoid, which ones are recommended? Which ones actually work well? First off, I would say Debut is probably one of the best free Shopify themes that you could get. Debut is really great at providing you like a very nice hero banner here, a very good call to action in the center there. Everything is just nice and tidy. It's very easy to manage, and it's just very clean and tidy. I mean, if you look at the store pages, you can see everything's nicely put into little squares here that aren't overlapping. You go into the product page. The product information is beside the picture. It's not below it or something else. So Debut is a very good theme to go with. There's nothing against it at all, really. The next two things we're going to look at are Minimal and Supply. Now, they're kind of similar to Debut in some regards, but they have their own little quirks. So let's take a quick look. So first off, with the Minimal theme here, if we take a look, you'll see that the hero banner is there. It's not as wide as Debut, but it does exist there. You can have it rolling. Debut can also do that. It has everything well put together. One thing that I don't like is that, well, I mean, you can adjust the typography, but oftentimes, like, you can have some of the information here fairly small to read. You can adjust that within the theme settings, so it's not the end of the day at all. Similar sort of thing. It has the product image as well as the description right beside it, and it has suggested products that you might also want to go for. So it's great. Let's take a look at the next one. So next one we have is supply. So let's take a look here. So if we go here, we can see that supply has a really good header banner here. So the header goes right across. It provides a lot of stability across different parts of your site in terms of color. One of the things to note with supply, however, is that any sort of product tags that you use on the back end of your Shopify store, for example, to create collections, all those product tags will be shown here. So that is something to be very careful with. It can help you and it can help people, go through your site quickly, but it can also become overwhelming, or there might be spelling mistakes, or etc., etc. You do need to be careful about this. Next theme I'm going to talk about is the Simple theme. And it is a good theme, but is a very niche theme. So this is for stores that aren't that large. It's nice because there is always the navigation on the left-hand side, so it's very easy to go back and forth between different product types. The only difficulty is that it's pretty like right down into business. It doesn't necessarily tell you what your brand is about, what your company's about, what you sell. It's just like directly into the products. So taking a look at the Simple theme, there's some pros and cons. It's a bit niche, like I was saying. You can have a store like this where it goes directly in your products. I wouldn't recommend that. There's, two other demos of this. There's this one which has like a rolling hero banner, and there's this one here which is more about, showing off some of the images. The biggest thing about this theme is that you always have the navigation on the left hand side and it's always available. So it can help organize things. It's a little bit niche, but it still does the job. So next up we have the Brooklyn theme, and Brooklyn is okay. It's out of all the themes that have like a giant background header image, it's probably the best. The one thing you have to be really careful with is that you don't get your navigation lost in the background. You can see that these are different colors of white here. I mean, you can adjust the coloring, but that being said, If your image has a lot of white in the background, then it can bleed into that. If you choose a different color and there's a lot of that color in the background, it can bleed into that sort of thing as well. So you do have to be careful with Brooklyn. Also, I'm not a huge fan of when you add products to the cart because it adds them on the right hand side here. At the end of the day, though, if your business has a lot to do with showing off, a lot about what you are in, one image, go for it. It's not a bad theme at all. So the last theme I'm going to talk about is Express. Now this is very, very niche. It's for, smaller products or specific types of companies. It's not generally used on average as your main source, but it does have its place. So you can tell that there is, navigation right here at the top. It's not all that much about, showing different panes and stuff like that. It's really, really basic, which for some stores can be useful. Most stores aren't going to use it. Some will. It's not a bad theme, but I'd still recommend some of the others first. So there you go. There's a quick overview of which themes to use and not to use. I hope that helps you guys out. Catch you next time. Looking to improve your store? Hire a geek. We offer individual store optimizations, one-on-one training, as well as workshops. Check out the description below for more information.